Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 407 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm here with an old friend, Jeff Herring. And listen to this, folks. Many people believe Jeff Herring is a living legend of traffic generation. But you know, many people also believe in the Easter Bunny.
I was waiting for the next one. I was counting on that. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. So, hope you didn't miss episode 406, everybody. It was about hashtags. It was one of my Monday training sessions on hashtags. So I introduce you to the use of them and why they're good and what not to do, what to do. And they're using them all over the place now, and it can really help you. And it costs nothing to do it, just a little bit of knowledge. So check out episode 406. Every time you want to get to an older episode of Screw the Commute, just go screwthecommute.com and then the episode number /406. All right, how'd you like to hear your own voice here on Screw the Commute? Well, if the show's helped you out at all in your business or helped you have an idea to improve your business, whatever, we want to hear about it. So check out screwthecommute.com, look for a little blue sidebar that says send a voicemail, click on it, talk into your phone or computer, tell me how the show's helped you, put your website in there so you can get a future episode or a shout out on a future episode of Screw the Commute. Now, pick up a copy of our automation ebook. We sell this for $27, but it's yours for listening to the show. And it saved me literally, we estimated it 7.5 million keystrokes as of a couple years ago. So it's even more than that now. And it's got all kinds of automation techniques for both your computers, your tablets, your cell phones. You will be amazed, and I'll go ahead and say you're welcome right now, because you will thank me if you use the stuff in this book. And pick up a copy of our podcast app at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP. Where you can put us on your cell phone and tablet and take us with you on the road. All right, many of you know I've got the longest running, most unique, most successful ever mentor program in the field of internet and digital marketing. So that's a very unique program, which I'll tell you about later. But as a spinoff to that, and so that I could handle more people, about 13 years ago, I formalized the training and went through 3 years of hell with the educational system getting licensed to have a school on this topic. It's the only licensed dedicated internet marketing school in the country, probably the world. It's imtcva.org, but you don't have to be in Virginia to do it. It's licensed by the state of Virginia, the State Council on Higher Education in Virginia, but it's distance learning, and it's good quality distance learning. It's not like these 4-year schools have been ripping people off, and then all of a sudden they got a distance learning program as soon as COVID comes around. It's like 2 days old, where ours is 13 years old, and it gets high marks from all of our students and graduates. So it'd be a great legacy gift for anybody in your family, young people, grandchildren, nephews, nieces, your own kids. And from a selfish standpoint, they'll have their own money because we teach skills that are in demand by every business on earth. So they'll have a career and they won't come home and live in your basement. How about that? So check that out, and I'll tell you a little later how you can get a scholarship to the school if you're in my mentor program. All right, let's get to the main event. Jeff Herring is the creator of Content Creation Nation and Smart Content Income. His students and members discover how to create, repurpose, profit with all kinds of content. And he's a single dad of 2 sons, 2 large dogs, and guess what? All of them are housebroken. How do you like that? And he may be a grandfather here shortly. So, Jeff, are you ready to screw the commute?
Let's do it, sir.
What's going on, man?
Well, as you said, any day now, I'll be a grandfather. Her due date was last week. And so great stories already around this. John got COVID over the summer and had it pretty bad. And one of the strange side effects was Caroline got pregnant, And so they went early on to one of those gender reveal places, that
Oh,
do
where
the
they start
sonogram
fires and
give you
stuff. They said,
the cannon to shoot off the
yeah.
pink smoke and the pink stuff or the blue stuff. And I was certain from the beginning it was a boy. Well, they shoot things off at the gender reveal party and it's pink. I'm like, oh, all right, guess I was wrong, but I still don't think I am. And several weeks later, I got a phone call from John after their 20-week checkup. And Dad said, we were looking at the picture and the doctor goes, your daughter has a.
Oh
So
man.
he's due any day now. But if you think about it, what's the hurry, right? It's warm and comfortable in there, right?
That's what I hear.
Yeah, well,
I haven't been in
and
there for a
most guys
while.
spend the rest of their life trying to get back in. So
Exactly.
take your time, buddy.
So, and just I think they did that on purpose. The people that, I think the doctors have a stake in selling pink paint and pink furniture and all that stuff. And then it's past the refund period now. So now you're stuck with all that pink stuff. And now you got to switch to blue and buy twice as much stuff.
Or have another kid.
Or that you can save it. Yeah, that's my conspiracy theory on reveal parties. So they didn't set any thousands of acres on fire, did they? Did you hear that one couple did that?
I did. I heard about that and
my
thought about
God.
it while they were doing the stuff. Fortunately, they did it in her grandparents' backyard. So,
So hey, so you got you've been on here a couple times over the years. So you got new stuff here. I haven't heard about this Content Creation Nation and smart content and profit funnels and all this other stuff. So tell us what you've been up to.
Well, it comes out of, Tom, something you taught me, because one of the things that a lot of people have done with the pandemic shutdown stuff is, it gives you some time to think.
They had
I remember the story you told about having a billionaire over who told you that you needed to spend time out by the pool,
right?
In deep thought, right? So I did some of that for about a minute, that's all I could stand. And then really a lot over the holidays. And I kept thinking, all right, what's of 15 years of doing this and even more years, 26 years of creating content for my businesses, what are the bottom lines? How far can I simplify this and still make it useful and powerful? And that's where I came up with the 3 steps: create, repurpose, and profit. Content creation, content repurposing, and content profit, right? And we'll talk about that when we get to the content profit funnels and the chunk templates. And from that came a soon to be launched website called smartcontentincome.com. And then what we already have out there is the Content Creation Nation, a mentor program, much like the one I went through with you. And this is a good time to get in, because we just finished the foundational training of, separate training on content creation, a separate training on content repurposing, a separate training on content profit. And now we're moving into the content profit funnels.
That's great. You're always moving forward, man. It kind of reminds me. I don't know if I ever told you the story about this guy I know, a long time, very credible guy, and he was all excited. He had spent all this money on, he was teaching people how to license their intellectual property to bigger companies. And he came up to me at an event and he was all proud of all the stuff he had developed. And I started laughing, thought he was kidding me. He got real mad at me because he came up with the website IP Money. was his website.
Oh my gosh.
Intellectual property money. And I thought, technically it makes sense, but there's loads of things on the internet you can see where your website just doesn't read right. Like therapist says the rapist.
Exactly.
Those kinds of things.
About that back when I did that kind of work. That reminds me of the story you told about the airplane. I gave you a shout out in a recent Medium column. Did you see it?
I don't know.
Because the picture I was using, for some reason, I needed a picture of an airplane, and the one I found on the side had ANA.
Oh, right.
And I wrote the little shout out. I said, @Tom Ante, and I said, almost.
Yeah, because It's this Thai Air. No, Japan Air. Luckily, they had a U.S. advisor because they were gonna. It was All Nippon Airlines, which is ANAL. And how'd you like to see that on a 747 coming at you?
At 500 miles an hour.
So, yeah.
Oh
So,
my.
so anyway, are these membership sites or trainings or what are these things?
The first one, Smart Content Income, it's a everybody all skate blog or website with links to all kinds of stuff. It's got links to my blog, to my webinars, to my coming podcast, to my live cast, and then all my other stuff, boot camps, master classes, this
So wait a minute,
program.
Your coming podcast, though you live in Cummings, Georgia.
Coming, Georgia, yeah.
So you're coming and coming. Is
But,
that what so now is this the actual website, smartcontentincome.com? Is that what that is?
it'll be there, yeah. Now,
Oh, that's what's upcoming.
Folks could go there now, and there's a few links active. It's going to launch formally on May 1st.
Okay.
As the podcast will. I like to launch things on my birthday, and then the Content Creation Nation is a mentor program, so people can come in monthly or yearly, and we have, you get in there and you pretty much get everything I've got, and we do weekly training for an hour on Tuesday, all along.
Well, you don't have COVID, do you?
What's that?
You don't have COVID, do you?
Why would I have COVID?
Well, you said they get everything you've got.
Oh no! Actually, you know what? I'm really pleased that I haven't. My son has had it. Both my sons, a lot of my friends.
Yeah, we don't want everything you've got.
That's right.
That's more like your ex-wives.
There's not enough penicillin for that, right?
But that reminds me of the Barbie divorce doll. Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah, it came with everything Ken had.
Oh, yeah. That's like Louis Grizzard's old line about, I'm never going to get married again. I'm just going to find a woman I hate and give her my house.
That's a good one. One of my favorites of all time that you couldn't ever get away with. This guy was like 85. He was still a speaker. I can't think of his name right now, but he said his mother-in-law was a test pilot at a broom factory.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
have you ever seen the Eagles in concert?
No.
They have a little stick they do, and I can't remember which one it does it, but they're introducing a song, and he talks about, he got a letter from his ex-wife, and the
see
return
the dog.
address
You hear the dogs
said plaintiff.
What is it?
Said plaintiff.
Oh. Yeah. So you heard the dog said, "Hey, I don't want any exes around here, and I don't want any divorces. I don't want to get." People fight over animals on divorces, big time.
I know, that's crazy.
Yeah, you didn't get a horse from your last one or anything, did you?
No. No. And the horse they rode in on, no.
All right,
so I kept the dogs I came in with, and then we added some.
All right, so Content Creation Nation, is that also a .com?
Yes, it's a .com.
Okay, and that's ready to go now, right?
Over there, you can see a good video replay of a webinar we did and find out all about the program. One of the things we're teaching in both the blog and the free level, and then at the deeper mentor level, is something I've been calling chunk templates. Now, you helped me create and package my original article writing templates way back in, what was that, 2005?
It was a long time ago, but now these new ones, are they named after me again, like getting chunky templates? Is that what it is?
I didn't think about that when I named them, but from now on,
you won't be able to get it out of your head.
I won't. No, and I'll always say it. I'll say, these are named after my mentor, Tom. And so think about it. Think about the different chunks of content that are out there: mistakes, myths, tips, suggestions, steps, secrets, right? Okay. Those are all small chunks of content. And we've got dozens of them, and you can do 3, 5, 7, whatever number you want. And it makes your content creation super easy. And it's not just for articles, folks. It's for anything, any kind of content you can use these for. Videos, podcasts, memes, webinars, columns, anything you want to create content with. You can use these chunk templates. That's CHUNK. And what I found, Tom, is as I show them to people, they keep suggesting other chunks. So it keeps growing and growing.
Yeah, and yeah, you mentioned memes. Boy, you're deep in the memes more than anybody I ever heard of.
Well, they're just so fun, and they market well. People think of them as just humor stuff, and they are. But you can use them to get attention and then teach. They're great on places like Pinterest and Instagram, other visual content, visual dominated sites. And so it allows you to create a lot of content. And we've talked about this before. One of the places I recommend it, and this is actually a content profit funnel. It's the simplest of them all, is getting your content, whether it's text, audio, or video, over on medium.com. Now, side note, next time you're out shopping for clothes and they ask what size you want, tell them you want extra medium.
I love that.
It's so funny because people take 2 steps away to go get it and turn around and look at you funny. I mean, if there's extra small and extra large, why not?
It makes sense to me. Hey, let's talk about these profit funnels a little more, because I actually sat through like a 3-hour thing. This guy, one of the big names, I won't mention him, but begged me to come down, sit in on my class stuff. It was 3 hours outlining this crazy funnel thing that looked like it was a schematic off of an airliner. It was just, this is, and I'm sitting there thinking, I don't want to insult this guy, but that is just crazy. So you've like streamlined these things, because everybody's talking about funnel. Yeah. I mean,
and I did it kind of as a lark. Then I thought, wait a minute, content profit funnels, I kind of like the way that sounds. And so I've simplified it, because if I'm doing it, it's got to be simple, because I'm simple. And so the simplest one is you create a piece of content and you publish it over on Medium. Okay. And when you're in their partner program, which you can get into for free, you get paid by Medium for the time that people are on your content, whether it's an article, video, audio, like a podcast or whatever. You're in there on one of the podcasts we did together. And so that's the simplest funnel I can think of. You create a piece of content, usually an article or a column over there, publish it, and that creates residual income. It's a residual profit funnel, in that, you'll get paid when it first comes out, but I'm getting paid for stuff I did years ago, and the more you put in there, the more you get.
Yeah. So I kind of like funnel cakes. That's my favorite kind of
That's
funnel.
the best thing at the fair. Right?
But yeah, so I've never done any complicated funnels. I put out an email that sends them to a sales letter, or sends them to a freebie that introduces them to some products, and there we go.
That's about the most complicated I get, because with these chunk templates, you can use them for promotion, right? To join webinars, to join your list for products. And the funny thing is, Tom, with the exception of you, most people I've seen out there that do content marketing, they make it, their model is really hard. They make it a 2-step, where, you create the content for promotion, right? And then you go to make your products, and you sit down and you're starting from scratch. Well, that's nuts. And that's why I call what I do direct response content marketing, because I want a result from every piece of content I put out there. I want my students to have a result from every piece of content they put out there. And so in my model, when you're creating your promotional content, you're also creating your profit content, because you can take an article, like all of these chunk articles, let's say you did, 3 steps to a great subject line, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's a good article. It's also a good webinar. It's also a good anything. It's also a good mini course, okay, or a good e-course. And each step becomes a module. You end up with 5 modules because the first one is a get started pre-training, and then module 1, module 2, module 3, and then and then module 5 is they're wrapping it all up, putting it all together, and your next success steps. So think about that on a visualize one of those word clouds, Tom, and it's got all these red, white, and blue chunk templates on there. And so if you took a topic and did all 15 of those chunk templates, that's a lot of material to turn into a course.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 simple steps, content, webinar, product. Boom.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. Love it. All right. So I want to take you back, because a lot of people listening to the show are, wishing they were out of the dreaded job and they're sitting in the cubicle. And so it's been a while, but you were a therapist for a family therapist for
Right.
a long time. And then talk about the actual transition period to get out of doing that, to get into doing something where you didn't have to, go in there and listen to those people's problems all day.
Well, I that's what I always wanted to be growing up, was a counseling psychologist. And I remember my junior year of high school is when they start putting pressure on you to commit to a major in college. And I thought, gosh, 17 is awful young to know what you want to do, right? And so I was just kind of watching and playing with stuff. And this is a true story, Tom. I don't even know if I ever told you this part.
Yeah,
Monday
most
night,
of everything we've said up to this point is lies.
That's true. That's
So,
true.
yeah.
Monday night, I'm not making any of this up. Monday night, we're watching the old Bob Newhart show. The
Yep.
one where he was the psychologist.
Daryl.
Yeah, no, that was the second one. That was when he
okay.
was the my brother Daryl, and my other brother Daryl. That was when he was the innkeeper. This was when he was the psychologist. And I remember thinking, wow, he gets paid for that, huh? And the next day, sitting outside the lunchroom with my buddy Rick, and I've always been the person people come to with problems and things to talk about. And Rick was talking to me about a girl problem, and I just seen Bob Newhart, and I went, I could get paid for this. And it was decided as simple as that.
Yeah, give me your lunch money. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. That's what I charged him. I said, yeah, you can buy me lunch. Spent 6 years helping run an adolescent drug treatment center, and then opened a private practice in '86, and really thought I'd spend the rest of my life doing that. Found you through the speaking world. And then, okay, here's a guy doing what I've been playing with, because I was trying to figure out the internet to reach more people. And
had you had a bunch of articles out at this point?
Yeah. I started writing a relationship column for the newspaper in '94, which was hilarious because I never finished my PhD in counseling psychology because my professors told me I couldn't write. And I believed them. And then a few years later, Dr. Mary Hicks, one of the professors that told me that, she signed up for one of my content creation.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
That was a pretty happy day. So, I played with it, and everybody was telling me, Jeff, look, you're a good psychologist. You're good at this, but you're better at these columns you're writing, because it was supposed to be only for 6 months to a year in the local newspaper, Tallahassee, the capital of Florida. It ended up going for over 10, and ended up, making a lot of difference in my life, because I still couldn't write academically if you held a gun to my head, but I can write like I talk and demonstrate how I uniquely approach problems and how I uniquely solve problems. And that column took off. It got nationally syndicated, internationally syndicated, filled my practice. And what really cracked me up was, back then there was no Tallahassee International Airport. It was Tallahassee Regional, and it was a tiny little, you can walk everywhere place. And the column went all over the world. So I had, the one that made me smile the most was this really well-to-do physician flying down with his wife from LaGuardia to Tallahassee Regional Airport, living in a a bed and breakfast I recommended for a week, and we met every day in my office, and then I did, phone stuff with him afterwards. So, everything we talk about here that worked in the newspaper offline, Tom,
Mm-hmm.
all these business lessons were great because they work like 100 times better online because your reach is so
Right,
much bigger.
right. So did
And
you
so,
save up money and transition out of the therapy world or what?
no, that really wasn't planned, at least the way it started. I had a very busy October of 2005. I had my first online course. Um, this is another thing I don't think I've told you. My first domain name besides jeffherring.com was thewritingresultscoach.com. I mean,
No, I haven't heard that.
that's a terrible name, but the course, Article Writing and Marketing Secrets, really did well. So that was October of '05. I also got the flu and got divorced in October of '05. So it was a busy month. The divorce was not a surprise. It was a relief in a lot of ways. What was a surprise was the mom's decision to move from Tallahassee to north of Atlanta. So I thought, well, I could stop this, but why put the kids in the middle? So I decided I had to get mobile and spent all of '06, 3 days in Tallahassee, seeing a week's worth of clients in 3 days, and then 3 days up here trying to get something going and seeing the kids. And what I did in between in the van between Tallahassee and Atlanta is I listened to training cassettes to tell you how long ago that was, or my laptop plugged into the cigarette lighter. And a lot of those were trainings from you. And, I just made it a rule. I'm going to listen to this. And when I get where I'm going, whether it was Tallahassee or Atlanta, I implemented it and, got up here full time in February of '06. Yeah, February of '06, my tiny little 700 square foot apartment, and built all this on a laptop. Thanks to your teaching and mentoring. And, that first month, I think I made about 500 online. And by May, I was making 20K plus.
Beautiful.
And, thanks to you. So, the transition was not what I expected, but, it quickly became a full-time thing because so much of my lifetime, I guess when you work hard and put yourself out there, you get lucky because I was up here deciding between doing internet or, the relationship coaching stuff. And I had started a singles coaching business and went to was interviewed on a show, a relationship radio show in Atlanta. And the woman and I hit it off, and I thought, okay, maybe once a quarter I'll go on here and, promote the business. That'll be cool. And then I ran into her at a coaching meeting, and she said, "Hey, Jeff, listen, I don't want to do the show anymore. I gave the station your name, and it's yours if you want it." And dude, that was before I even moved up here.
Right.
And so that was fun. But here's the problem: the online business was taken off, and it took an hour to prepare the show. It took an hour to get down there, an hour to get back, and an hour to do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you and I both know how much you can do online in 4 hours, right?
Right.
So I just did that for a year. But you know what? There's something I did that I learned from you. I had a notebook, with all my interviews in it, and I always interviewed somebody in the field because I knew a lot of people. But I also had I'll clean this up. I had my oh crap file, which was if somebody flaked or couldn't come or didn't show or whatever, I had an hour's worth of material I could do on my own. And I learned that from you, from the speaking stuff. And so, I went full time online, and it just took off from there, basically teaching people how to create, repurpose, and profit with their content.
Yeah, and 20K a month's great, especially when your child support's 30K. But
Yeah, it was good to get 2/3 of it done.
Yeah, the woman's got to eat. So,
so boy, was that a slow pitch.
So we got to take a brief sponsor break, and when we come back, we will ask Jeff what a typical day looks like for him and how he stays motivated. And also, whenever I talk to Jeff, I always think of the the old saying that I never met a therapist that didn't need one. But,
Absolutely true.
so folks, I don't know, about 23 years ago, I kind of turned the internet marketing guru world on its head. That's kind of stuff Jeff's talking about. He ran into me like 15 years ago. And guys at my level were charging 50 or 100 grand up front to teach them what they knew about internet marketing for small business. And I thought, I knew a lot of these guys, they're rip-offs. They'd be hiding out in Mexico if you gave them 50 grand up front. So I said, I'm going to turn this on its head. And so I charged an entry fee, which was way lower. And then I tied myself to their success. So for me to get my 50 grand, they had to make 200 grand net. Well, people love this, and 1,700 plus students later, in 23 years, it's still going strong. And it's the longest running, most unique, most successful program of its kind. And I have no trouble saying that because I triple dog dare people to put their program line for line up against mine, and nobody will do it because they'll be embarrassed. I mean, it's all one-on-one. We'll take over your computer. All my subject matter experts here, plus me, will work with you one-on-one. I don't like group because if I'm talking to the advanced people, the beginners are lost. And if I'm talking to the beginners, the advanced people are bored. So I don't like that. Then you have an immersion weekend at the Great Internet Marketing Retreat Center, and it's the only facility of its kind in the world where you actually live in the house. Here, we have a TV studio where we shoot marketing videos for you. And plus, you get a scholarship to my school, which you can either use yourself for extra training or gift to someone. So, and plus, it has all kinds of other perks. So that's the nature of it. And you can find the details at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com and give me a call. I'm very accessible. There's no high pressure machine gun nest twisting your arm. So once we show you the value here, people think it's kind of a no brainer. And we're so proud to have helped Jeff along his pathway too. I didn't have anything to do with his marriages, though I might want to tell you that up front. So Jeff, what's a typical day look like for you nowadays?
Well, before I answer that question, I just want to underscore, folks, everything Tom just said. I owe a lot of my success to Tom because he simplified it, made it easy in the training and in the time you spend at his house, at his retreat center. And, if you're thinking about it, stop thinking and do it. Just do it.
Thank you.
So, people ask me all the time, am I a night person or a morning person? And my answer is yes, because I like both. I like being up late. I like being up early. And so, I'm usually up 5, 6 a.m. First task is getting the dogs outside and feeding them, the two big ones, Duke and Buddy. On the way to do that, I turn on the computer, and then usually what I'll do is I'll create some piece of content first thing in the morning, either a short video or a short article or column. And I call these, Tom, my DRGRs, daily revenue generating rituals, that I do every day. And the first one is creating that piece of content and publishing it. And one of my rules is when you create a piece of content and publish it, you're not done. You're not done until you repurposed it in at least one way. I've got one up on my third screen right now that'll go out after we do this. And then there's usually an email or two to send. And then the rest of the day is, working on my projects, building out products, building out sites, doing videos, and working with folks, working with students, and one of the things I've learned, although I still do occasional one-on-ones, this is going to make me sound so old, but I've been working with people in groups. In May, it'll be 50 years because I started when I was 13. I was like Joe Goodkid all the way up till then. In Miami-Dade County, I won the citizenship trophy in 3rd grade and all this stuff. And, then we went from Miami to Kansas to Virginia to DC to Winter Park, Orlando, 4 schools in 1 year. And by the fall of the next year, I was ready to blow it out. So I did pretty much everything you could do wrong at 13 in 1971. And when I got caught, part of my consequence was I had to join the Boy Scouts, right? And ended up quickly becoming a patrol leader, the youngest one ever in that county. And so, I've been doing stuff in groups for 50 years. In the drug rehab center, in my private practice, now in the volunteer work I do at church. And I have just found that people just grow faster in groups, because they not only get to learn, they get to encourage each other, and other people get to give them ideas. So I do a lot of group coaching, even on a free webinar. I call it a workshop at webinar where we'll accomplish something. I know that's radical for webinars, but it works. And the rest of the day is spent that way. I'm usually done by late afternoon, because I've got a lot of volunteer projects and 2 dogs to take care of. And my youngest son is soon to be 19. And, amazingly, they both still want to be around their dad. So we do stuff, and that's a basic day.
Well, how do you stay motivated? Because you live by yourself only with the dog. Is that the dogs in the background there scraping on the floor or what?
Yeah, he needs a good nail trim.
Yeah, I've been hearing that whole through the thing. Like, what the hell is going on? But
yeah, and then the next house we're going to do rugs.
Yeah, until they pee on it. Then
part of what keeps me motivated, I've got one son that still lives at home, one that's married, and the dogs and tons of friends and stuff. But what keeps me motivated are 2 things. Hey, I've still got, Tom, a note from a woman back in my first mental health job. It was at a place called We Care. It was a suicide hotline. I also worked that year in college at an athletic store called Athletic Addict. So my friends told me I worked at Who Cares, an apathetic addict. Not too long ago, one of my buddies from back then came through here on the way back from somewhere with his wife, and they stayed a night here, and we were up telling stories. And I told the story of one night when Jay called me up when I was at the suicide hotline and did a prank call.
Oh,
okay?
geez.
He acted like an old man and some girl problem. And I was 99% sure it was Jay, right? But that 1%, I couldn't say anything.
All right.
And then finally he said her name and laughed, and I knew what it was. Well, I told that story, and I didn't know Trish had never heard it. And it was so funny because she sat there for a half hour going, "You prank called a suicide hotline, Jay?" And every time she said it, she emphasized a different word. It was hilarious. And so I did those 2 things in college. And at the suicide hotline, one night I got a call from a woman who had taken enough pills to take herself out. And she was on the way out. And this was 1978, right? Mm-hmm. So, you couldn't find people as quick as you can now. And so she wouldn't give me her phone number. She wouldn't give me her phone number. And she kept dropping the phone as she was fading out. And on one drop, I said, "Hey, listen, one of these times you're going to drop the phone and accidentally hang up. Give me your number so I can call you back." And she did. And so I tricked her. But we got the EMTs over there, and she was almost gone. She was turned out a very, very heavy set woman. It took like 4 EMTs to get her out of bed. But I've still got the note thanking me for tricking her.
Wow.
And so it's the results that keep me motivated, and seeing the change in people's lives. Like I just did a boot camp for folks on list building, and on the boot camp, we created a lead magnet and their opt-in page and got it online. And just seeing people, Tom, that's where they'd been stuck. I mean, one woman told me it took her months to create one, lead magnet. Other people that have never had an opt-in page because the technology scared them. It's the results.
Yeah.
It's changed lives that do it for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know the feeling. So thanks for coming on, man. How do people get a hold of you?
Well, the best thing to do is go to 21freshcontentideas.com, where you'll get, what do you think, Tom?
3 fresh ideas.
That's right. And all the rest of them are repeats. Yeah.
Right.
21 fresh content ideas that you can use anywhere. It is an ebook, Tom, a guidebook that's going to become an ebook. Mm-hmm. You'll get all kinds of suggestions that you can create all kinds of content right away.
And that's the numerals 21?
Yes, the digits 21, freshcontentideas.com.
Perfect. They can get a hold of you that way too, right?
Yep, absolutely.
You're awesome, man. Glad you're still moving forward after all these years.
Hey, I learned a lot about work ethic from you and passed that on. John, when he got hired at 18 on staff at church, he jumped by people that, had been there for years and were older. And Caleb works for the Holy Chicken Place, Chick-fil-A. And you're supposed to be there for 6 months before you can be a team leader. And he was a team leader at 3 months. So, you're the grandfather of those guys. So you passed it on.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I was a little concerned when you said you get your work done in the afternoon, because, that's kind of lame.
I know. Only working 12-hour days.
Yeah. I mean, geez. Well, I won't give up on you. Put it that way. So
I appreciate that. You never have yet. I don't expect you to.
All right, man. So everybody go to 21freshcontentideas.com and we'll